Take three. I told you it. I made you aware. But so I just finished talking about the train accident that I was in, and I still went to work. Then, moving on, there've been a lot of weird occurrences happen in my life over the years. A lot of really, really deep, and a lot of these situations would literally crush most people, destroy most people. But somehow, grace of God, apparently. Hey, but moving on. I was living in New York. Years later, I was married. Years later, so I was gonna go fishing with a coworker, right? Even though my instincts were kind of like popping off some red flags, even though things were kind of like giving me a weird feeling, but I still went anyways because hey, me and my colleague, we got along pretty good and so forth, and hey, gave us a chance to have a guy moment and hang out a little bit and stuff, and well, he was at work and he was finishing off his shift, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll go find a spot. I'll get us set up. I'll get us going. You just meet me there when you're done. So en route, I had a motorcyclist slam into my full size Chevy Tahoe at 70 miles an hour. And let's just say, worst comes to worst case scenario, he had to get mercy flighted. And I walked away with just a couple pieces of glass in my elbow. Now, after squaring off with 5 state troopers because I didn't want to go into go into the ambulance and get checked out because I felt fine, I was good to go. When I finally went in because I finally collapsed, and when my adrenaline had finally calmed down and I actually had a chance to react, I had a blood pressure of 195 over 200. So by definition, I should have been dead, coked out. But I didn't. That's just a couple of them. That's just a couple of weird situations that taught me a lot. When you're a soldier, they teach us to adapt and overcome. They teach you that nothing is as it appears. Pain is power. Rise above the pain. It may hurt for a little while, but you'll get over it. It'll go away. And so that is something that I've used with everything with all the experiences, even through my whole career. I served 18 years, by the way. And once again, you don't serve that many years without learning a few things along the way, without trying to indoctrinate certain things into your life. Now, dealing with people, right? I'm an ambassador of many things, but mostly my country. I tried being a leader, being a guide, a mentor, right? People are going to come to me and look to me for guidance because I wear a uniform. By definition, I was wearing a uniform. So when you're behind that kind of a guidepost, right? When people are going to absolutely look to you for guidance because you're a leader, right? Just like people go to a police officer when something's kicking off, or if there's a fire, you go to a firehouse, right? You call 911 and they'll dispatch a fire truck to you. Or if someone's sick and not feeling good, you call dispatch, they'll dispatch an ambulance, right? Being a soldier, it teaches you a lot about strength. It teaches you a lot about how to rise up. And instead of going with the grain, you go against the grain because maybe that might keep you out of traps, keep you out of problems, and keep you out of situations that you probably shouldn't be in. One would think, right? If you're like me, I always like to run into the fire and learn my lessons while boots on ground and I'm stomping around. I was always turning my pain into power because like I've said in other videos, I've spent most of my life in gyms, lifting weights, taking care of myself. Because how in the hell am I supposed to take care of somebody else if I'm not going to take care of myself first, right? Self love is the most important asset that one can possibly have. That's the most important love that you can ever show is making sure you love yourself first, right? And there was probably some denial in there too, like in the train accident. I might have known that I looked like I felt, but it is what it is. You adapt, you overcome. You don't let the situation overcome you. You overcome the situation. Um, Looking at everything from the broad scale scope of understanding that you don't need to hate to be a good person. You don't need to follow the crowd to be accepted. You don't need to give in to what everybody else is doing just because everybody else is doing it. You can be an individual as long as it's not, as long as it's not causing major problems. Hold up.